guys, welcome back to another episode with me on Let's Talk About It series. I am Janelle. Welcome back if you are an oldie, and welcome if you're a newbie. Let's go ahead and get right into today's message. So, today we're going to be talking about you can't change the cards you were dealt, just the way you play the hand. Whew, that is powerful. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit deeper. First thing that came into my mind about this was what people face, the adversity that people face when they are younger or even when they are older, the adversity that they face, the struggles that they go through. And a lot of times people make it out or make it through and are able to take what they have learned from the situation that they have been either brought up in, or whatever the situation may be. They took what they were lacking, they took all of that, and they made something out of it. Then you have a lot of people that are still living in that and with that type of mindset of, I don't know how to get out, and I don't know what to do to get out of this situation. Deep down, a lot of times we suppress what we're going through because if we don't think about it, if we can just think it away or not have it at the forefront of our minds, then we have an opportunity to not worry about it anymore and continue to go on with our lives. But when you don't face your demons right then and there, then they're like a weed. They sprout back up when you least expect it. What I want to talk about is not all of us have a perfect life. And I can only talk about my own. A lot of times, especially when I was younger, I was thinking, man, it would be great to have a sibling. I'm the only child, by the way. It would be great to have a sibling, somebody who I can play with, hang out with, ride with, go to the mall with, do different things with, and we'll have a great relationship with one another. And also someone who I can, when I get in trouble or when I do something wrong and I'm not supposed to do it, then I can always have them take the cover for me. Not take the blame, but just cover for me. And when you're the only child, you can't do any of that. It's like the spotlight is literally on you and you alone, and you are in this thing by yourself. And that's how I felt. And I'm just like, man, I mean, some of the things are good and positive of wanting to have a sibling, but hey, it's okay to be selfish in that way of wanting a sibling, in the other form of it, to allow them to help you out with not getting into trouble. But unfortunately, that wasn't my life. And yes, I am the only child. And so a lot of growing pains, a lot of things that I had to go through, I had to learn through. But I really do feel like I came out better on the other side. Now, I'm not like a millionaire where I'm talking about what is that, this big struggle that I've gone through, to get from $0 to $1 million. Like, I don't have that story. But what I do have is the struggle that I went through when I was in my wilderness season. A struggle that I never even thought that me, Janelle, would go through, ever. I never thought that I would be in this position. And when I had to go through that, it was kind of embarrassing, because I'm like, God, why do you have me to go through this? Why couldn't I go through something less extreme and still be able to make it through? I promise I'll praise you the same way. But what God was teaching me and what he was showing me was something beyond myself, beyond my limitations, and truly going outside of the box. Because let's back up a little bit. When I was in my very first apartment, I moved from there to Tennessee. And I thought, man, this is an opportunity for me to go ahead and do exactly what I wanted to do, which is move to Tennessee. I've always, like, Tennessee at that time was like my most favorite state, and right under Florida. And I wanted to move to Tennessee, and I was just like, man, it would be awesome. The hills, the mountains, like the country music, like I was into all of it. And I finally had the opportunity to move. And so I took what I made at my job, and I of course had all of that saved, and I moved. And I thought that this is a new opportunity. I would be living in Tennessee probably for the majority of my life and all this other stuff. But it didn't happen like that at all. It was like, skirt. What you thought was not what actually happened. And make this long story short, because I don't want to hold you guys too long, but to make this long story short, what I thought, or how I thought things were going to happen, was further from my mind. It did not happen at all what I thought it was going to be. However, what I did learn while I was in my wilderness season in that time was an opportunity for me to learn and to grow and to lean wholeheartedly into God entirely. I mean, I didn't have anyone else but him to help me through it. But he placed family to help me with what I was going through. That was a time where I had to do something I never thought, honestly, that I would ever have to do, is to ask for help. You're probably like, Janelle, of course you're going to have to ask for help sometime in your life. But for me, I thought that I had it all together. Everything was great. If anything, I would be able to help them, when they needed help with anything, I would be able to help them, right? But in reality, in turn, they were there to help me. God positioned them and blessed them so that they could help me at such a time as that particular time in my life. And that was such a struggle. But God helped me to be vulnerable more than anything. To, yes, lean on him, to trust him that he would be with me. But it was to be vulnerable with my situation, with what I was going through, and that it's okay to call on someone, ask them for help. It's okay to let somebody see you struggle. It's okay to not have it all together and try to figure out what you're going to do the next day. It's okay. It is okay. And that's something that I struggled with, but it helped me to grow and be a better version of myself that I am today. And because of what I went through, I was able to use that as a testimony. I was like, even before I got out of it, I was like, Lord, I don't like this, and I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. But here I am. I'm going to take what I'm in right now, and I'm going to help someone. I know that what you're doing is a setup for something greater and bigger than myself. And I cannot wait until I'm out of this situation to be able to help somebody with what they're going through. Because this is a test. All this is a test. All this is helping me to mature and grow and develop in who you have called me to be. And it's also an opportunity for me to be able to take everything that I've learned and to help someone else with what they may be going through. And that's the way that I had to look at it. That's the way that I wanted to look at it. Because if I looked at my struggle, if I looked at my situation day in and day out, and only looked at the negative of what was going on in my life, I would never have I wouldn't have gotten as far as I am today. I wouldn't be as strong as I am today. It would have taken much longer, honestly, than what it did. Because sometimes God would keep you in a refinery longer than anticipated or longer than you thought, because He's still working some kinks out in your life. And a lot of times when we go through a struggle that we never even in our wildest imagination thought we would ever come upon, whether it's us specifically or it's family, we never thought that we would be in the situation that we are in. But let this be an opportunity for you to grow and to develop and to lean wholeheartedly into God, to trust Him with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul, to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, to lean wholeheartedly into Him, to talk to Him, to learn so much about yourself in that time. I learned so much about who I am, learned so much about who I am in God, that I am an ambassador for Christ, that I am a living testimony, that I am being used by Him. I am a vessel, that I am doing. This is a setup and opportunity for me to be able to share my work or share my struggle, share my testimony with somebody else of like where I was, where I came from, and where I am now, and how He has brought me through. All of that was orchestrated. All of that was to take place for a reason. And a lot of times, especially when we're going through it, it's not the best. But we have to remind ourselves that the reason why we're going through it is because we need to come out better. We need to come out of it stronger. And we're not in it by ourselves. I was never for 1 minute in that struggle by myself. God was with me, and He provided for me every step of the way. Each and every day, I never lacked anything, because He was there with me and He provided for me every step of the way. I don't want to go through it again, no. But I always look to it and know that anything that I may be going through that is temporary, that is short term today, I can always look back at what He's brought me through and know that if I was able to make it through that, if He was able to help me get through that, then surely He's able to do it again and again and again and again. So I hope that you take where you are now, what you've gone through, and don't be bitter, don't be angry, don't be upset about it, but know that the cards you were dealt or for a reason, because God knows how strong you are, and He wants to make you even stronger. And the things that we go through are for a reason, to be able to refine us, to transform us, to position us to seek God first and to grow a relationship with Him. But it's also to help others who He has placed in our lives at specific times in our life. So I hope and pray that you guys receive something from this message. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys soon. Until then, bye.